brand new details on the clash that happened between two actors on the set of Avengers Doomsday have hit the net, and people believe that they figured out who one or two of these actors might be. One seems to 100% be Robert Downey Jr., but who's the other one? Well, we might know. There's speculation. So let's talk about what else happened, what we've learned, and what's going on. Okay, so to quickly catch you up in case you missed it, it wasn't too long ago that we talked about the reports of what's happening behind the scenes of Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. And what we found out was that there are some major problems behind the scenes, especially when they relate to Robert Downey Jr. So what was stated is that RDJ has essentially taken control over every aspect of Doctor Doom. Now, as I covered in that video, and I cited the original source, being the Russo brothers, when they came on, they said that it was up to them to convince Robert Downey Jr. to join the project. And when Marvel Studios and the Russo brothers met with RDJ, he was interested, but he wanted to do his own thing. Then they confirmed that when it came to Victor Von Doom in Doomsday, it's RDJ that was reworking the character into how he wanted the character to be, writing his backstory, writing his mannerisms, writing his relationships, and all that, and that this was going to be RDJ's version of Victor Von Doom. Now, when it came to what was going on the set, they had a body double wearing the Doctor Doom armor. And they would have RDJ standing off the side reading the lines that would later be dubbed. Well, he didn't like how the body double was doing the mannerisms of Doctor Doom, and he didn't think that he can convey the right emotion and tone of voice, so he demanded that they reshoot close to 4 weeks of content, and that he wanted to be in the suit the entire time. And by all accounts, they accommodated for this because, one, he's making $100 million. 2, he's the most highly paid actor there. 3, he's got an element of creative control. So they allowed him to do this. And this is where everything, I guess, comes crashing down, because now we're hearing that there's 2 big top-level actors that are clashing on the set. And they're just not compatible when it comes to one another. And by some accounts, it might be Robert Downey Jr. and Pedro Pascal. So I'm just going to say it right out the gate. I don't believe it's Pedro Pascal, and there's a couple reasons. One, there's never been a single actor or a project he's been on that's ever said a single bad thing about him. Not even any extras working on anything he's worked on. As a matter of fact, it's the complete opposite of that. They all praise him for how kind he is, how he takes time away to make sure everybody is good on set, how he's friendly with everybody, and all that. And I'm going to guess that the Pedro Pascal thing is coming from, you guessed it, grifters. Because when I search up for it, it's them that are presenting Pedro as the problem. Now, this is probably because Pedro is very openly pro-LGBTQ+, which most of these YouTube channels and people hate. And also, he's very open about who and what he supports in the world today. Very vocal about events around the world and specific locations and people and what they're doing to other people. And a lot of others naturally do not agree with him, right? They were also against him when it was down to the Gina Carano situation. So my guess is, and it's just an educated guess, for all I know, he could be the problem. From everything we know, Pedro's probably not the problem. But let's go with the idea that he is. So here's what happened in the last couple years. Pedro went from a bit character in Game of Thrones that everybody overlooked to suddenly landing The Last of Us, to becoming meme-worthy, which people will say the Nicolas Cage and him meme And the combo of The Last of Us propelled him into stardom, to getting cast in so many projects, to joining the MCU, to, of course, being the Mandalorian. But again, he was behind the mask most of the time. That all lines itself up over the course of a 3-year period to propel him to stardom. Now, he's not one of the most highly paid actors in Hollywood, but he is commanding a pretty decent payday and is rather well off. So is there a chance that his ego has become bloated and he's sort of thinking that he's the new Robert Downey Jr., that everybody wants him, that he sells the franchise, that no matter what happens, if he touches it, it will turn to gold? Because that's how RDJ acted when it came to everything outside of Iron Man, which we saw didn't work out for him. Same thing with The Rock and multiple other roles. A lot of these actors, they get a ton of roles, it goes to their head, they become egotistic. Is it possible to happen with Pedro as well? Maybe. There's just not a whole lot to support this. Just like the RDJ thing. Did he get a little bit of an ego? Yes. Did it remain checked after a couple flops? Yes. Whose ego didn't? Even after multiple flops till literally everybody dumped him? The Rock. So I don't think RDJ or Pedro are on the level of Dwayne. Let's just be real about that. But let's talk about what is allegedly happening on set and what is causing the big clash, and possibly who the other person might be. So there is a belief, because a brand new report came at us from more insiders who are confirming that this news in regards to RDJ is real. And they specifically talked about everything that they heard in relation to what's going on. Now, this latest report came at us from a guy called John Rocha. I have never heard of him, but just looking him up quickly, I guess he's reliable. So apparently they confirmed that yes, there is something big that happened on set. There's definitely two very outspoken actors who went after one another. And it said that they essentially had to separate them and shoot scenes where they're together separate because they didn't want to work together. Now this, again, reminds me a lot of The Rock and Vin Diesel situation in Fast and Furious, because that was egos at play at their finest, and it hit public mainstream news outlets really quickly because we could see it. And what this boils down to is that essentially the actor going up against RDJ feels that Marvel bent the knee too soon to one actor to make all the concessions and favor for him, to reshoot all this work that everybody did, delay the film just because one actor demanded it. So whoever this other actor is, he clearly sounds like he's up there in terms of pay. Now, I said why I don't think it's Pedro. There is a belief that it might be Chris Hemsworth, as he is like the second most well-paid actor in this franchise now, which honestly I could see. And he's had a couple of other hits outside of the MCU. Again, not big hits, mind you, but over on Netflix, he's had that Extraction franchise, and we know he's trying to talk that director into joining the MCU in the next Thor film. So, if anything, I would say it's more than likely him, but I'm not convinced either way that it still is, because Hemsworth seems like a legit nice guy. But then again, there's also all the, hey, they're a really nice person, but they might not be. You know, a lot of people say that about Chris Pratt. There's reports of people at Disney theme parks and people who worked at Disney who got to interact with him, and they said he's one of the worst celebrities they've ever had to accommodate for or work with. There was extras on some of the Marvel films saying that same thing. So again, we just don't know. But there's definitely something going on here, and something behind this is true, because we've now had multiple reliable people talk about this. Something is definitely up with the film, and the delay is more than likely to accommodate for this giant shift in production that RDJ demanded, which is unfortunate. But if they see fit that they wanted to do it and needed to do it because it wasn't working, I guess they're going to bend the knee to the highest paid actor in history. thank you for checking out that video, and thank you for your continued support. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, do whatever you will, and if you're so inclined and would like some additional content from us, which includes unfiltered content and bonus discussions, we do offer exclusively in our member section. We hope to see you there. So thank you for watching, and have a good one.